Winter. I'm allowed a beanie today.
Woo-wee. Winter, winter, winter. Hello, hello, hello. And welcome to a brand new episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. As always, I am your host, Sudi. And today I am joined by Barry Mitchell. It's been a while. It's been like 3 weeks since you've been on the podcast. You've been busy.
Yeah, I have been busy, but you keep me away. You
Busy and busyness.
busy? No, I've been yeah. Busy,
Your lie.
busy and business. No, I haven't been busy. I've been creating results.
Nice.
Different story. Yeah, I've been good. We've done a lot of events. Traveled into different countries in Africa.
How's Zambia? Is it hot in Zambia?
Zambia was good, contrary to popular belief. South Africa is not Africa.
South Africa's not Africa.
It's part of Africa.
Listen, Americans, you guys are, a lot of you watch this stuff. There's more to Africa than just South Africa, okay? We have white people as well.
Africa's a big continent,
It's a
man.
massive
It's a big continent. But also for the people that claim to be number one in Africa in whatever they do.
Yeah, that's also
That have hardly even ventured out of South Africa. It's like, do people actually realize how friggin' arrogant that is? To make a statement that I'm the number one whatever in Africa. And you're like, how often do you actually train outside of Africa? How often have you been into the continent of Africa? What business do you really do in Africa? And how do you make that friggin' arrogant statement?
I feel like athletes and sports teams are the only ones who can make those types of claims. You know what I mean? Like, Akani Savini can say he's the fastest runner in Africa.
Well, he is.
Exactly. Because he's been proven.
The fastest known runner in Africa.
Yeah, there we go.
Based on the Olympic Games, the World Champs, the African
everything
champs.
that he's doing. Yeah,
I got that 100%.
Yeah.
But in our game of training, how do you at training? I mean, I hear these the Americans arrive here and go, "I'm the number one, I don't know, business coach in the world." Like,
In the world?
Who gave you that friggin' right,
I
man?
have 7 billion.
How did you suck that up of what the world's the world's? That's the problem with social media, chum. Is people can spout absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
They can spout absolute bullshit, and people believe it. I mean, people saying I'm the number one, I don't know, business coach, sales trainer, whatever in Africa, and then you find out they don't even train in Africa. They all their businesses in South Africa. So you make a claim that because I'm in South Africa and it's the largest economy on the continent, then I'm the number one. Cuck, man. Go into Africa. If you want to play, if you want to call yourself playing in Africa, go into Africa. Go train in Zambia and Mogadishu and frigging Kenya and all the places.
Get your numbers up.
Fortunately, and I don't do it to be number one, but fortunately, go into train in some of the countries that I've been blessed to go into.
And this is because I put out something last week. You were teaching.
Hey, you like my cup?
Yes.
Cracker joke. That's nice.
One of your famous lines.
That's what happens when people tell me they're number one. I just go, that's nice.
They got the medal. They got the medal. They got the trophy. I mean, those are things you can buy at most stores. But I was thinking about, because you were in Zambia now with Paratus.
Yeah.
And you put out a post, and I think it was like after the event. You guys were having a braai or whatever. And I shared it onto the Uncovering Greatness page, and I put the top experiential trainer, the top experiential business development trainer in Africa.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it, and I was like, I know what you said, but I could say number one, because I don't know personally any other experiential trainers in Africa.
But the reality, Sully, is
No, I'm saying I could say it. I'm basing it on my opinion.
But you must, for example, you would need to quantify that. See, people don't quantify it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need to say is, in my opinion, based on the training events that I've been to, I believe Barry is the number one trainer that I've ever attended.
Okay, gotcha.
For example, rather than I'm the number one in Africa. How do you make that claim?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, no, I can't, because I really haven't seen many trainers from Africa.
Because you have the right, because no one's actually going to say anything to you on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you make those claims. People make these blinking claims.
Oh, LinkedIn is the best place for people to make those wild claims.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you're like, yeah, it's just it's interesting. Interesting.
5 minutes in and we are off topic.
That's nice.
It's very typical of us.
If you want to know what that's nice means, go watch Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Old school classic. I had this thought yesterday. It's so crazy that for the first time in a long time, South African politics is so wild that I'm not concerned about Donald Trump.
South African politics has always been wild, Jim.
Nah, not this wild. Now it's when Donald Trump is looking mediocre.
How did we get to politics, Jim? I was talking about nice things, and now we're in politics.
I'm just saying the crazy things in this world.
You know I'm apolitical.
What is that? You identify as apolitical?
I don't identify as anything, Jim.
I mean, I'm sure that exists. Not identifying as anything. What are we talking about?
Apolitical. Yeah, I mean, I have my political views.
Okay, so we're not talking about politics. I'm just saying I had that thought.
It's a shit show at the moment.
It's so crazy. I mean, there's the guys at Transnet who have been arrested for their massive levels of corruption, and
who would have thought?
I mean, nobody, man.
Who would have believed that?
Those are good guys, like really good people, just being judged for no reason. Like
so unique.
The money was there. What were they supposed to do? Not take it.
It was unique. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the country.
No. Everything else is running smoothly. We have power. We have water sometimes. No, and I was thinking about that, like from a business context, right? In terms of like, so Transit is a company. It's a big company. There's a lot of people employed.
Yeah.
And these are like the top guys within the structure of the business.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you are stealing and you doing corrupt nonsense, what do you expect your team to do?
Well, the same thing, Sully.
What do you think about that?
There's a wonderful saying, and I think I learned this from Blair Singer, I think. But a fish rots from the head.
Mm-hmm.
And you see me draw the fish on the flip chart.
Yeah.
But a fish rots from the head. So in any organization, the problems that you have in the organization stem from leadership.
Mm.
You fix the problems in an organization from leadership, and you create problems in an organization from leadership. So if the top echelon in any organization is corrupt, well, what's everybody else going to be?
Okay.
Well, they're going to be corrupt because how, at the end of the day, how do you stop people doing stuff that you're doing that they all know you're doing?
What do you mean?
Well, Sully, it's not a secret when people are corrupt. People know. People know.
Yeah.
People know lots of stuff in organizations that people don't think they know. It's like in the country.
Yeah.
How do you stop some of our police being corrupt when many people that run our country are corrupt?
You can't. It's tough to do that.
So how do you say you can't, but we can?
Mm.
But we're not. But everybody knows that we are.
Yeah. So you follow the rules, but I don't follow the rules.
Yeah.
I make the rules.
So you take that down to any business. Is how does that happen? A breakdown in context, a breakdown in rules, a breakdown in values. So,
but do you think that things actually even start like that? Like having context, having rules, having values? Like, I mean, the way that I'm looking at it, it doesn't seem like those things even existed in some of these organizations.
So remember, context is created to create the results that you want to create.
Okay.
So if you want to steal, well, you wouldn't create the context that stops you from getting what you want.
Okay, so you wouldn't create a context where people don't steal.
No, well, why would you? Because if you put in all the checks and balances, you'd get caught.
Mm. Fair.
So the context is, so you create a set of rules that generally are not written down, but a set of rules that everybody agrees to play by, so that I don't hold you accountable, you don't hold me accountable, and we both get what we want. Mm. And what we want is self-serving. It's not serving the greater good of the greatest number of people.
Mm.
So for me, that's the biggest problem where we're at in the world. Is people have become so self-serving.
Yeah.
They're so focused on what they can get out of it and how much they can take. You know, in business, my definition of a business is a legal organization, and that's important to start off with, but a legal organization that provides a product, service, knowledge, time, and or skill in fair and equitable exchange for money. And exchange is the principle of exchange, or the principle of reciprocity, is key. And the principle of reciprocity is give and receive, not take. So give and receive. So you give and you will receive. You give and you will receive. We've got in the world where people just want to take. I want to take what I want to take because I want to have what I want to have, and I don't want to give anything back. Well, that's fine, but it's totally against God's principles. It's totally against universal principles, whatever you believe in. For me, I believe those are God's laws. The law of reciprocity, the law of balance. I look after you, look after me. We'll operate in exchange.
Yeah, we'll balance.
100%. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and we've just got into this world of take. I want to take. I'm going to take first, and then I'll see what I can, if I give. You know, so, and that's where we create imbalance. You know, I've been rereading a book that I love called Master Key to Riches by Napoleon Hill, and he unpacks who then was one of the richest men in the world, Andrew Carnegie, the Scottish steel merchant.
Okay.
And he unpacks 12 laws that Carnegie lived by, but also that Carnegie got Napoleon Hill. He hired Napoleon Hill to go and interview some of the most successful people in the world.
Okay.
And he wrote a book. His most famous book is Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
But he wrote this book called Master Key to Riches. And right up front in the first chapter, he says, you cannot have without giving. He says you got to understand that the first core principle is that you cannot just take. You cannot just expect to have stuff without doing anything. You have to do. And we're in this world. I mean, people want land. Let's just take it. People want businesses. Let's just take it. People want loans. Let's just take it. I want money, so you must give me money. I'm not going to pay you back, but you must just give me money.
I just want funding to go to school. Let's just take it.
100%, and then we don't pay it back. And it's, you know, people can justify it as much as they want, but it creates a total imbalance. So does that make sense?
Would you say that that's where we at right now in the world, like with everybody wanting to take universal incomes, all of those types of things, that we created an imbalance in the world?
Well, certainly, because who's giving? People that are paying tax. So now there's big. I started a conversation on Facebook with someone, and then I just decided I wasn't going to go any further.
Oh shucks, went down the rabbit hole.
No, I didn't even go. I got to the edge of the rabbit hole, and it was like,
that's a witness.
It might not be a rabbit down there, but there might be a snake. So I'll just stay away from it.
Most people don't do that.
And I was gonna ask. So it was around this. I don't know, these people getting upset because Bezos had his wedding in Venice and bought. And I don't know, hired half of Venice or did whatever he did.
Well, it cost 20 more.
It's like that's not right. Tax the billionaires, tax the billionaire. And I just made a comment. It's okay, great, so tax the billionaires. But what about all the jobs they've created? And then some guy comes back and he goes, yeah, but they're low-paying jobs and there's abusive. And my immediate thought was, you've never friggin' hired anyone in your life. That was my immediate thought. Yes, it's an assumption from me, but that was my thought. Is you've never started a business, you've never invested your own money, created a place where people can come and work for you, and because you would be saying that, because in many places where people are working, they're not in exchange, they're sucking money and they're not delivering, and then they say, oh, but it's unfair. Well, it's because we're out of exchange. So what? A guy like Bezos used his brain, started in his garage, and has created a business that is now a global business. Why must he be penalized? Because he actually created, in my opinion, way more opportunities than that dude that goes to work and complains every day about how his friggin' pens don't work and how he's been ripped off and how they expect to make him work. What's he contributed to humanity? Absolutely fuck all.
Yeah.
And I'll say it like that, generally. But there's a guy, I have no idea what Bezos is like as a human being. Does that make sense? But I'm just taking it on the context of how many tens of thousands of people does Amazon employ. Amazon's now in South Africa.
It is?
How many people
Does it employ?
is it employing in South Africa? People that were desperate to get a job that now have a job and can feed their families.
Yeah.
And some DH like that dude is going to say, you're ripping off people. They didn't have jobs.
I didn't even have to take the job.
They didn't have to take the job.
Nobody, I don't think anybody from Amazon sat there and put a gun to your head and said, hey, you have to take this job or else.
100%.
And also, that's my thing, is like, why do you, if people are so heavily against billionaires, why not stop, and this may be a stupid question, but like, why not stop utilizing the things that they create?
100%.
Just stop. Because then they will no longer, because then you
Stop using Facebook.
Stop using
Stop
Facebook,
using
stop
Amazon.
using Amazon.
Stop flying Virgin Atlantic. Stop using it. 100%.
Stop. Just stop.
Yes.
Stop contributing to
Yes.
billionaires. And for me, because I started reading The Psychology of Money.
Yeah.
And what one thing he says is we tend to go to the extremes, right? So we look at the billionaires. And I'm like, we've spoken about it a lot. How many billionaires are there on the
I
planet?
think on the Forbes list there's 3,200 or something.
And that's the extremes we go to.
Out of 8 billion.
We want to tax those guys.
And those guys must pay.
What about taxing the people who actually don't pay tax?
100%.
Actual people, normal citizens. Do people not think that if each of us paid our tax the way that we are supposed to, and our taxes get used the way they're supposed to, we'd have a functioning society?
100%. Because so we're totally out of exchange.
Yeah.
So we're totally
But we
out
have
of
to tax
exchange.
gender.
People are not paying their tax. That many average people are not paying their tax.
For sure.
Governments are not using their taxes that tax efficiently. I mean, you just follow America and all the to and from about, there are homeless war military veterans
Oh, yeah.
on the streets, yet they're bringing in illegal immigrants, giving them homes. Whatever your views on immigrants and da-da-da-da-da, the reality is,
Yeah,
those are your citizens of your country.
Yeah.
Surely that 20 million should go to the citizens rather than housing some dude that came in illegally.
and those are the citizens that fought for your country.
100%.
And for me, I feel like it's the same as like with, like, for example, those the Afghans who served for America during that time period.
Yeah.
How that happened and all that is its own thing. But I do definitely feel if you've served your country from a military perspective, there's a big just my take. You should be treated differently.
Someone should look after you.
Somebody should look after you, because that level of service, that level of sacrifice. Like I watched the guy on the thing that Charlie Kirk does when he goes to the universities.
Yeah. That's
A military guy came up and he literally said, like, you guys should be happy that you live in this country. You have the freedoms that most countries don't have.
yeah.
The freedom of being able to come up here and talk on this mic and tell this guy how dumb his opinions are and how stupid he is. Not many countries have that level of freedom. And I'm like, for me, those are the people.
It's the freest country in the world, but then they make statements like, I mean, you listen to the stupidity, but for me, it comes back to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's an imbalance of
100%.
people just want to take. No, we want a universal salary. Where the friggin' heck's that money going to come from?
That's the rich.
That's the thing, is people are stupid. Yeah, tax the rich, but then the rich are going to go, okay, well, I don't need to put my money into business. So, you know what, I just keep my money. I don't need to
Put
invest.
it under a mattress.
And where your job's going to come from? Because governments don't create
Not
jobs.
upgrades.
Well, governments don't create jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the biggest falsehoods ever. Government's job is to create an environment where business owners can create jobs, which we don't create. So, yeah, so go back to your question. Your question was, if we were if everyone was paying their fair share of tax, and that's where the question comes in, what's fair? But the reality is the tax system is designed so that people that reinvest and build the economy get tax breaks. Why? Because they're building the economy to give jobs. So why, when they build the economy to create jobs, should they be taxed more than anybody else?
But
It just doesn't make friggin' sense.
isn't it kind of the same for like citizens when you pay medical aid?
Yeah.
You get a break at the end of the tax year, basically because for let's say SARS is like you pay to keep yourself healthy so that you can continue to work, so that you are not a liability on the state.
100%.
Therefore, you get a tax break for paying your medical aid every single month. Here's a I don't know, we get
Whatever
a
it
tax
is.
rebate.
£3 forever, 30,000 you pay.
Don't we see that? I'm not even gonna make an don't leave that. Trying to throw my points off here. Hey, like,
At least you get something back.
yeah, exactly. But you get something back for doing something. Now, if you take it to the extreme of I create thousands of jobs a year, I build buildings, I do all these things.
Why should I not get a benefit?
So I'm just do this out of the goodness of my heart. Most people don't do things out of the goodness of their hearts.
My belief is because people don't understand. Because they haven't built shit in their life. It's a self-serving, I want what I want.
Well, I think they have bullshits in their lives. They just don't like the shit that they built.
And they have no idea what it takes to build a business like that. No, absolutely no concept. Just building a small business. Many people that work for companies have no concept what it takes.
Zero.
You know, so I mean, I know this. I am responsible for 5 people every single month. You included.
Yeah.
That's my responsibility.
It's a big responsibility.
And because we've built this business, and this business is growing, well, that's given you an opportunity to earn. Has your earning ability increased over the last 5 years?
Yeah.
So
But it's worked hand in hand with the growth of the business.
yeah,
If the business hasn't grown, my income cannot grow. It's
100%.
for me.
But people
that's
don't,
logical.
But yet for you it is. But for most people it's like, oh no, but I'm here, you must give me more money.
Give me an
And
increase.
then, oh no, Barry must be taxed more because
Yeah.
it's like, dude, hold on, man.
So what do we do here?
So it's just, for me, I just think, you know, it comes down to the fact that I think, and in my book, A Salesman's Journey, I wrote this, and I think it's my favorite chapter, Sully.
www.uncoveringgreatness.co.za. Grab your copy of A Salesman's Journey. $400, including delivery.
My favorite chapter, Sully, is smart, stupid people, Chip.
I think that's your favorite saying.
Yeah, because when I look at people, they, you know, it just happens to be the very first chapter in this book, and it's that game of you know, don't be a smart, stupid person. And in today's world, there's so much access to information, and people are highly informed and think they know so much, but yet they know so little because they haven't done it. So that they think they understand business. You know, people spewing off about Donald Trump can't be a good businessman because he went bankrupt. Goodness me, man, how many business owners lose businesses and spend 20 years scraping it through and start a venture and then it goes down. And it's just, you know, there's nonsensical sayings, you know.
But isn't that just merely the risk of starting a business is the chance that you might go bankrupt and it might fail? The mere risk.
So
just starting it.
So it might fail. It will fail. I don't know. I think the global stats still sits around 95% of all businesses will fail in 8 to 10 years.
No, it's 4 years now. It's going down.
So you're going to fail. The question is how do you embrace the failure? There's a difference between quitting and failing.
Big time.
So don't quit. You know you're going to fail. Find out how not to fail. Push through when you do fail. Get up and do it again. But people don't want that. What do they want? I want to register a business today. You must give me money and I have a business. And they sit there around waiting. I mean, that, by the way, is our next podcast.
Sitting around waiting.
No. Trying to get money from financial institutions called banks.
Oh, banks.
You know.
Oh, man.
So we're going to talk about that in our next podcast.
That's going to be a 2-hour session.
The banks talk about, you know, we're here to help entrepreneurs grow, but you try and get a friggin' decent loan.
Where you're not, you're not crippling yourself. Just do some.
So anyway, in this book, The Salesman's Journey, chapter 1 is all about don't be a smart, stupid person. And it comes back to that, is people think they know so much, and you're on social media. Like now, we're on social media. We share our opinions,
Ludicrous statements.
and some of my opinions, they're my opinions,
Mm.
and I'm always open to change my opinions.
Well,
But I think what happens is many people are not. They have their opinion, and it's based on, I don't know, they did a PhD, a UHD, an EHD, 7 degrees. They know because they know.
Yeah.
And when you look at some of the things that are said, you're like, logically that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think that's what's been blazed.
It's a lack of
I'm like,
fucking logic, isn't
it's
it?
just logic. It's not even, you don't have to be like smart, the smart person. And I think when we speak about smart people, we speak about people who are educated, like not educated, but schooled. There we go. That's
Yeah, so highly schooled,
Yeah.
stupid people.
But people don't have logic, like just simple logic. For me, that's what blows my mind. I'm like, and especially when it comes to the tax the rich thing, I'm like, guys, this is just stupid. Like you have to be able to use some logic in this.
So it's fine for all of us to sit around, do absolutely nothing, but we must take all the money away from the people that are creating the opportunity for jobs.
Yeah. The
Okay,
opportunities
great.
for things.
So when you start taxing them too much, what are they going to do with their money?
And take it somewhere else.
They're going to take their money and go elsewhere. And then who are we going to tax?
No. We're not going to tax anyone. We're going to blame them for taking their money out, and we're going to blame the government. So we're going to blame everybody else but ourselves.
100%.
Because that's the easier thing for me to do. Why would I blame
And
myself?
the reality is, the people that, this is my take on it, a lot of times the people that are in power that are spouting all that stuff, they're actually not interested in looking after people. They're just interested in looking after themselves.
No, because it's at the end of the day, if everybody's spewing the same thing, okay, so my voter base is interested in taxing the rich. Let me speak about that.
Yeah, so let's tax, and then, but the reality is the voter base is not going to benefit. The person that comes
voter
to
base is
power
going to lose.
will benefit. You know, there's a wonderful book called Independence Day, and the premise of the whole book is the more you rely on a government, the less independent you are.
Yeah.
The less you rely on a government, the more independence you have. So, and if you just look at it more and more around the world, governments and politicians and bureaucrats are pushing more and more for people to depend on them. You know, healthcare, friggin' universal salaries, all that sort of stuff. And now you have people that are more and more dependent on the government. And when you're dependent on governments, you can be controlled.
Yeah.
Because they tell you, no, if you don't do this, you ain't getting your money. Whereas if you're not dependent on the government, so there's that constant fight, because if you create your own level of wealth and you build your own businesses, pay your tax. I get that, no problem. Pay your tax, be above the law, but you're not waiting for the government to send you a paycheck at the end of the month.
No.
Then you have independence, and I think that's one of the biggest things that comes into entrepreneurship. Build a business, and importantly, build a business. Don't have a business. That's the other thing people are waiting for. You know, when the government gives me a handout and I can get a tender, then I have a business. Now, if you have access to a tender and you have some money,
you have a tender.
when they take it away from you because you don't fit in anymore, you've lost everything you have.
You're done.
Whereas when you build a customer base and you serve that customer base and you build a legitimate business over 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you can create income. Then you reinvest it and you create more businesses and help more people grow. That for me is what life should be.
I agree.
You know, why should someone be penalized because they created 100,000 jobs? What did you wait? And I ask people that haven't created anything, what the friggin' heck have you created?
I mean, just the pressure of being able to, the pressure of having to create 100,000 jobs, maintain 100,000 jobs, fight people who are consistently trying to, and I mean, like you said, you know, you've created 100,000 jobs, and let's call it 20 of those 100,000, well, 20,000 of the 100,000 people are actually doing their work. 80,000 of those people are not, and you still got to keep that way. I know it's a generous amount.
But even look at it. It's even if you don't go to, let's say, the huge multi-billion businesses, just a business that you create a business, you build 100, you create 100 jobs. As a business owner, you're responsible for those 100 people, those 100 jobs. But Sully, that's 100 jobs. If we build if we build 1,000 businesses in the next 2-3 years that grow to 100 jobs, that's 100,000. That's 100,000 people employed. You know, it's
A lot of people employed.
you know, so that grows. You know, in I think the average household has 4 to 5 dependents, maybe 5 to 8 dependents in South Africa. So that's 800,000 people that will depend on those jobs. That is a huge change. Well,
Massive.
but governments have got to create the environment that allows those businesses to grow. That's not happening because there's this fight about control. Who's in control? You know, our podcast that we did a couple of weeks ago, when the president made that statement, "Don't tell us."
Oh, when he made a boo-boo.
Businesses mustn't tell us how to conduct ourselves. It's like, whoa, your money comes from businesses. That's where it comes from. The success of business is how you can
Depends on what you do.
is where your tax comes from.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, at the end of the day, it's about building this level of exchange and a little bit of mutual friggin' respect. But are we creating environments that businesses can thrive?
I think that's a great place to end this one. Welcome back. Feeling good?
Always. Always. But I suppose I go back to the exchange. Are you creating exchange? And whatever you're doing today, are you in exchange? Are you giving are you sowing in order to reap? And is it fair? What you are going to reap, is it fair and equitable? Or are you just taking? Stop taking. If you're running a business and you promise to deliver to your clients and collect your money and make sure the transaction is fair and equitable. If you have a job, rock up and do your friggin' work. Do what you promise. Do what you promise that and you agreed to do in order to earn your salary. Stop taking, because I think, you know, and it's my take. The biggest friggin', if you want, epidemic that we have is the desire for people just to take and take and take and not so. And you know, if you keep doing that, everything eventually breaks down.
Yeah, and I think what you said there's actually so important. It is a big epidemic, and I think if you just take that across everything, when you say take, that's everything, every part of our society, people taking each other's dignity, taking each other's respect, taking each other's jobs, taking each other's land. We've become a society of takers without putting things in exchange, and now the world is in this wild imbalance, and we're trying to figure out why. But it starts with us.
Just if each person just starts thinking, am I in exchange?
Yeah.
Am I in fair and equitable exchange? You know that wonderful saying, live by the sword, die by the sword. And that's exchange. What you sow, you will reap. The key component is you will reap what you are destined to reap when you are ready to reap it, not when you want it. And people want what they want when they want it. And that's not how it works. You want to grow, start sowing, and sow fair and equitably. And so based on agreement, and then we will make a change. We will create an economy and a country and a continent that makes an absolute difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an absolute cracking episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. Thank you for watching, listening, wherever you are in the world. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. To everybody who has commented, thank you very, very much. We had a few comments about the one that we did around immigrants and immigration and them taking jobs. A lot of people actually came back with some great feedback on YouTube with that. So that was really, really cool. So keep doing that. We appreciate it.
When did you do that, man?
Oof, like a month ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just started to take off now. It's crazy. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.